Conversations with Rob. Like and subscribe our videos. We got a lot of great videos. We just did Lincoln Chafee. We just did Richard Ojeda. And now we're on to a special guest from Kentucky, from Greenville, Kentucky. This is Stephen Cox. He's a progressive and a Bernie-crat running for Senate. We're going to try to ditch Mitch in Kentucky. Hopefully we can in 2020. Stephen, first of all, thanks for running. And I appreciate your service as far as working in healthcare. And reading through your bio, it really seems like you're not just a progressive, but a working person that knows what working people are really going through in our country.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
When I first started working, I made the minimum wage in Kentucky at the time, which was $5.50.
Wow.
Yeah, that
crazy,
was when I first joined the workforce, and it stayed $5.50 for a long time. But over time, I've moved up, found better jobs, and which I'll be honest with you, right now I make $16.90 an hour. But
right.
You would think, given my position, that I would make more, but no, that's all I make per hour.
Right. No, I get it. I'm a teacher, and I'm in Florida right now, and I know they had, and we'll get to this in the interview, that they had that teachers strike in Kentucky. And I'm sure that you know a little bit about that, so I'd love to get your input on that later on down in the interview. And Matt Bevin, the horrific governor, one of the worst governors in the country, definitely is in Kentucky. So I'll definitely get your input on that too. But you're running for U.S. Senate. We've seen, obviously, Mitch McConnell's been in there for years. And I thought he had a race of maybe getting him out of there in 2014 with Allison London Grimes. But that didn't pan out. We'll get to that later on in the interview. But first of all, the interview is about you. Give us the viewers some background about you and why you're running for the U.S. Senate.
Okay. Well, some background about me. I work at a retail pharmacy. I've been working there for the past 10 years. I did start there as just a regular cashier. Over time, I picked up new skills. I got my pharmacy technician's license. And then I got my certification from the PTCB board. So now I'm a registered pharmacy technician. So I work as a pharmacy technician that handles all the front end operations of the store. So it's the technical term is an assistant store manager, but you work as a pharmacy or registered pharmacy technician, and then you have to manage the front of the store. While I was doing that, I also attended college. I got a degree in criminal justice, a bachelor's, with a specialization in homeland security and emergency management. And like I said, I did that while I was working a full-time job and also, raising my son.
Wow. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So what makes you, and I know those things kind of make you as far as a working person and going through those trial and errors, making $16.90 an hour now, but like you said, when you started the interview, $5.50. I know in Florida, not sure what the minimum wage is in Kentucky, but they're still at like $8.25, $8.75. Where I am, I'm in Orlando, where Trump actually kicked off his re-election rally down here. But the reason is, the people that don't know, Orlando, the rent is extremely high, and there's a lot of, as all over the country, and I'm sure in Kentucky too, there's a lot of areas in Orlando where people are homeless and they're working 2-3 jobs and they still can't make ends meet and they're on the streets still. But what was one of the reasons that made you run for the U.S. Senate? Honestly,
fear. Fear was the main reason. I mean, I saw the people that were getting elected into government, especially after the 2016 election,
right.
And they're not really addressing the issues that are going to be important for the survival of the planet, so much as they're addressing the issues, that are going to make them rich, right now or, in 5 years. And it's like they have no long game or no long interest in what is going to be happening in the world. So yeah, fear was a very big deciding factor. I wanted somebody to be doing something, and I didn't see anybody stepping up. So I was like, okay, I'm tired of waiting for the candidate that I want to see run. So I'm just going to become that candidate and, give it all I got.
So let me
Um,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Also, with that, working in a pharmacy and being around people with insurance issues and healthcare issues, you learn a lot. I did not know this once upon a time, but dentures, for example,
Right.
are not covered by Medicare. They're not considered necessary for life. They're considered a cosmetic
And
thing.
hearing
And
aids too.
yeah, cosmetic things. I mean,
Right.
I don't understand how those are cosmetic because they're kind of necessary
For
for
life,
life.
yeah. Yeah, no,
And
I totally agree with you. It's really sad, but in Kentucky, as far as you're really a progressive and you stand on a lot of progressive principles as far as Medicare for all, and especially you working in a pharmacy, like you said, you come in there and you see people that are cutting their pills in half. They can't afford that. Those pills, I'm sure you hear those stories every day, not just in the pharmacy, but all over, people that are your neighbors and your family members could be that are saying these same stories. So tell the viewers, and I know I'm a Bernie guy myself, and I know Bernie, the Hillary Bernie divide in Kentucky, and I hear a lot of people saying that Bernie probably won that primary. There was a little bit of shenanigans. Maybe you can kind of elaborate on that. But what is the electorate in Kentucky?
um, what do you mean as far as what is the electorate? Like, how do they stand, or what are
Like
they?
conservatives and like progressives. When you see mostly Kentucky as a red state, a lot of Republicans in the state. But there have been some governors, as far as Andy Beshear's running for governor. His dad was the governor before Bevin. So, what do you think about the electorate, and what are the issues that you've heard traveling around the state that that you've been hearing about on the campaign trail?
I mean, the big issues in the state is number one, healthcare.
Sure.
A lot of people don't have it, um, and jobs. A lot of people aren't doing so well, especially in Eastern Kentucky. Um, I was talking to another or a person the other day, and they were telling me how they know families that are actually, starving because
Wow.
there's no jobs for them. They don't have any way to get jobs or make money, and they don't have health care to take care of them when they start to get sick. So it's a really desperate situation. Um, but yeah, a lot of people, it's healthcare and it's jobs, and climate change. Honestly, is for a lot of
Sure.
people too. You wouldn't think it, but I mean, climate change affects our farming communities pretty heavily right now.
Right. I totally agree, especially down here down in Florida. Like, they just had that Democratic debate in Miami, and almost every day in Miami, even if it's a sunny day, sometimes they have flooding, and they had flooding in D.C. the past week. So, I mean, we're seeing effects of climate change all over the country. So, I know your big platform is a Medicare for all. What else are you more? I know you're more of a Bernie crat. What other issues do you have on your platform besides Medicare for all?
Well, like I said, climate change response to that is a big thing on my platform. It's not on my website, but I often talk about that I am very much for the Constitution and pro Constitution,
Mhm.
and something I want to do is bring the Constitution back to Kentucky and back to the states. On the abortion topic, I do catch some flack because I do say that I am pro life, but I try to let people know that I am personally pro life. It's not a decision I would make, but the Constitution grants them the right to make those decisions. And if a person wants to be pro choice, that's perfectly okay. That's their choice in
Yeah.
life. And some of the things that are happening around the country as far as what laws are getting passed is completely insane. With the I believe in Alabama they passed a
Right.
law that if someone gets an abortion they can get the death penalty.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting about that is that infringes upon people's constitutional rights. And several legislators got together to make that law. So if you look at federal law, what those legislators actually did was conspire to work under the law to deprive people of their rights or constitutional rights. So those legislators, if they wanted to enforce it, technically the minimum penalty for that is 2 years in prison, and the maximum penalty is the death penalty itself, which is what they're trying to impose on people that have abortions. So I want to bring the Constitution back to the forefront, and really push those issues, because what those legislators have done in Alabama is unconstitutional, and it is a federal crime. So, I mean, at the very least, they should be in jail for 2 years. And if anyone does get the death penalty for abortion, then those legislators need to get the death penalty themselves.
Well, that'll never happen because, as you know, and you're a guy that doesn't take any corporate PAC money, so I commend you for that. But all these guys take corporate PAC money. They're all establishment, and that's who they want to put in. So I do want to get your input as a person that lives in Kentucky, and that was a big thing. We saw in West Virginia where the 55 counties of the teachers went on strike, and that led to teachers' strikes all over the nation. Kentucky, West Virginia, Los Angeles, and other cities all over the country. What happened in Kentucky? There was where the teachers went on strike, and you can correct me because I may be wrong on this, but I know Matt Bevin wasn't too nice to the teachers went on strike. He said that something to the effect of they were hurting kids because the kids were at home, or the kids were going to create crimes or something to that. What is the story on the teachers' strike over there in Kentucky?
He actually said that they were causing children to be sexually assaulted because with all the children staying home, sexual abuse is bound to happen to one of them. So he was basically calling, saying that they were part of that whole process.
Right.
And which
he's
is really
calling the teachers a criminal.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which they were striking because of pension issues. Basically, the state is not wanting to fund their pensions properly, which is something the state agreed to do already. And now they're saying, well, the funding is really not there. The state has, especially under Matt Bevin, has really mismanaged a lot of funds. Something that always kind of bothers me is you see that, Kentucky lottery, for example, they say, well, all that funds education. Mm-hmm. It does go to fund education. But the moment that those funds go into education, the funds that were there originally, they take and use somewhere else. So it's not like it's extra funding so much as it's just cushioning. Right. And if they would have left the original funds there, then there wouldn't have been an issue in the first place. So what the teachers are doing, I mean, it's very valid. And it's not just the teachers. That's all state workers. So your state troopers, their pensions are affected. Your state workers, people that work at the VA, everyone that is a state worker, their pensions are affected, and it's insane.
So it's still going on, and the teachers didn't really make too much ground after that strike?
Well, it's more that it went to a stalemate, and that honestly, I mean, I'll plug Andy Brashear right now. Definitely, people need to vote for him. Matt Bevin kind of put in a really interesting thing into the legislation that basically gave him the ability to push through a lot of things that were going to be very anti-pension related. But the great news about that, and the great news of him, giving that power to the governor, is in November, if we elect Andy Brashear, then he has the power to actually fix the issue. So, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. If, Matt Bevin gets reelected, then he'll have the power to basically destroy, the Kentucky education system. And if Andy Brashear gets elected, then he can fix it. So it's up to us,
Right, to get Andy Brashear. So let me ask you about that, and to just dip a little bit more into past Kentucky politics. So in the last, I believe, gubernatorial election in Kentucky, Jack Conway, the Attorney General, ran against Matt Bevin. He was up in the polls for a while, and then Bevin ended up winning. What was the talk of why Conway lost in that election?
It was.
Was it just low turnout?
It was 2016. Trump was very heavy in press, mm-hmm. and people started to get behind him, and a lot of people were, sort of, they felt left out by the Democratic Party and really your corporate Democrats, mm-hmm. and they felt like they were, liars, and they weren't doing the things they were promised. So even a lot of your traditional Democrat voters, they just went straight, red ticket. Yeah. And I mean, especially for a person like Bevin, that was highly advantageous because in his primary he only got 18% of the vote. That was how many people were in that primary. He won with 18% of his party's support.
Yeah, I thought that. I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. McConnell didn't even endorse Bevin. He went with
Yeah,
the other guy.
he didn't.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's move on to the next question, Steve. So how can Democrats win back Kentucky? How can a Democrat, a progressive Democrat like you, because it seems like the establishment Democrats aren't getting the job done, whether it's Allison London and Grimes, Jack Conway. So we got to have somebody that's a progressive step in and give them a shot. So how can you win Kentucky back, and other Democrats in general win Kentucky back?
Well, the biggest and the hardest thing is going to be passing the primary because, I mean, Amy McGrath, she's got a lot of funding. I mean, she raised a ton of money her first day, and, a lot of it was dark money. It was corporate money. It's the same thing she did in 2018. And that's going to be the hard thing to do, is to make people realize that progressive candidates
Right.
will have people get behind them. And if the party keeps super pushing, the corporate Democrats, then they're just going to continue to lose. Nobody has any faith in them. They flip-flop on their ideas quite often. And, the policies they are pushing basically are just Republican-like policies. And if you get the chance to vote between, a Republican and a Republican light, most people are just going to vote for the Republican. I mean, why get the off-brand,
Right, I totally agree with that. And it was funny you just used the Republican light terminology. They were using that same thing that you said in Florida with Andrew Gillum when he ran for governor down here. It was why would you vote for a Republican light when you can have the real thing for as Republican voters? But I'm going to get to Amy McGrath. Don't start that first. Amy McGrath, my thing with her is she lost her race by 3 points, and she had more money than Barr did. She had, I think, $3 million more than Barr did, and she still lost that race by 3 points. Now, I commend her service as a veteran, but here we are. The first day she gets in, Chuck Schumer and the Democratic establishment, as you said, are going to pick somebody that's Trump. She's Trump light. She's come in there, and she's going to make $2.3 million in her first day. So, yeah, it really screws progressives like you, who are just getting funded by the people, when she's got $2.3 million, and they did this with the Hillary Bernie thing. Oh, she can win. She can win. And then they vote for Trump because he's a con man and he's just, a blowhard, but he didn't win. I mean, the person that's Republican light never wins, and always the Republican wins. So my question to you with the Amy McGrath, and maybe Matt Jones is thinking about jumping in the race, and if Conway jumps in, or Rocky Adkins, who just lost the governor's primary. Now, how can you stand up and fight all these people with all this money, whether it's Amy McGrath with the dark money or all these other people that have real huge names?
That's the really hard truth of it. I don't know that I can fight all these people. I can only fight it if I get my name out there and I get support from people. And I can honestly, I can do a better job than any of them can, because they've shown us what they're capable of already by having offices and being that sort of, corporate niche of Democrat. They don't get things done like they should. They're often, more Republican than they are Democrat. And the money that gets fueled into them, where does it go? A lot of times it's not about having the best candidate. That's the sad part. It's about running the candidate that can collect the most money, because the most money means, regardless if they win or lose, they can just keep pumping that into the Democratic Party, which is sad. I mean, I understand there's people out there that have to have jobs in politics and they have to make money, but that's not really what the system's here for, is to, keep them getting paid. It's to, try to do what's right by America and by Kentucky.
So how do you go out when you're on the campaign trail and connect with some of these Trump voters? Now, when Bernie was in Kentucky, he did extremely well in the primary in Kentucky. And I think if he, gets to the general, he may not win Kentucky, but I think he'll give Trump a fight for his life in Kentucky and other places in West Virginia stuff where I think he's the only Democratic candidate that can go over there and win it. Now, how do you talk to these Trump voters that, a lot of these people are not racist that voted for Trump. Some are, but a lot of them aren't. They were just conned by him about he was going to bring back the jobs. Trump said he wanted to create universal health care. He was going to bring back all the coal industry, which was all a lie. So a lot of these people were conned. So, some of these people did vote for Bernie in the primary. How would you get this and connect with some of these Trump voters?
Well, honestly, the way you connect with them is just by being real with them, showing them that you are working class and you are for the working class. The main thing that they connected with Trump about was, regardless of what he was saying, he was being honest about it. He was being very blunt about things. So they knew that if they voted for Trump, they were going to get what they paid for. And, not necessarily something that I enjoy seeing, but they just want a genuine candidate, and they want somebody who's going to tell them what they feel, and not, if you say you have an idea, 3 minutes later, if you find out it's not popular, you're going to be like, oh, well, I disagree with that now. Now I have this other idea. They want somebody they can trust, and they want to know that when somebody says something, they mean it.
Right.
And that it's just not there with a lot of candidates. McGrath, for example, we all know she was like, yes, I'm pro-Trump. Oh, you guys don't like that? Well, maybe I'm not as pro-Trump. Oh, I would have voted for Kavanaugh. Well, I didn't read into it. Now I've read into it a little bit more. Maybe not Kavanaugh. Like, okay, seriously, you've been in politics at least, since 2018, so you know what's happening with Kavanaugh. Everybody should have known that, especially someone running. It's just insane.
Well, that's the thing with it seems like the Democrats, as far as the establishment Democrats, they never catch their lesson. We saw what happened with Hillary Clinton when they cheated out Bernie. We see what happens when they put up these establishment candidates, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Joe Biden goes to Wall Street and says, nothing's going to change in your life if I get elected. Kamala Harris goes to Wall Street saying she's for the people. That's her campaign slogan. She goes to Wall Street and raises money from, all these places, Goldman Sachs. She's got the same donors as Hillary Clinton. How we don't look at our mistakes and say, why do we keep putting these same has-been politicians up, and let's get the new blood. Me and you are going to deal with climate change, and I'm not trying to be ageist, but not the people that are 70 and 80 years old. And I know Bernie's that old, but Bernie's got a mind. He's been saying these progressive policies for over 40 years. And people like you're talking progressive policies. Meanwhile, they're trying to put Amy McGrath or Jack Conway up. Jack Conway's lost like about 3 or 4 elections in a row. If you put these people up that keep losing, you're just going to get Mitch McConnell again. And if they put Amy McGrath up, Mitch McConnell's going to win. I'm sorry to say that, but that's just the way it's going to be. Yeah, if I was go ahead.
That's the truth. You look at when Allison ran, Allison was actually a lot more popular than Amy is right now. Mm-hmm. And she ran Republican light. And there at the end, the DNC, they backed down. They're like, yeah, we're not going to put any more money into this because you're going to lose. And, well, she lost. And, I've met Allison. I thought she was a very nice lady. I enjoyed talking with her. But I felt like she was smarter than that. But that's what she got coaxed into doing. And it's a failure every time. I don't know if it's an intentional failure that they just keep doing for some reason. But I just can't understand why they would continue to use the same strategy when it obviously is a losing strategy.
Right. Well, the thing like you is I hope you don't get these Democratic consultants, because I think the thing that happened with Allison was she listened to her consultants. Remember, in the debate against McConnell, she said they asked her if she voted for Obama, and she wouldn't say it. She kept manipulating the question and wouldn't answer it. Just say, I voted for Obama. These people that don't like Obama, they're not going to vote for you anyway. But like you said, you're an honest guy. You say what you mean and you mean what you say. She wouldn't say she voted for Obama, and she wouldn't stick up for any progressive ideas. She would just was taking the money. So, I liked her too, as you did, but she just was apparently listening to her consultants. And I think that Amy McGrath will do the same sort of thing, and it's just going to be another loss.
Well, when they do that, they don't realize that the people they need to be listening to are the voters. They need to just
Right.
go out and talk to actual people because the consultants, they've got their own ideas and they think, well, I am knowledgeable, so my ideas are the great ideas. You should listen to me. No, don't listen to them. Listen to the people because their ideas are going to be in the moment. If
Right.
they change their minds in 2 days, they'll tell you about it. And the consultants, they're going to be working on information that's already going to probably be 5 years old, if not just a year old, but it's still old information that they had to get secondhand. Go to the source, go to the people,
Right.
talk to them, and don't think that your own opinion and your own thoughts on the matter aren't as good as the consultants because I talk to people all the time that they are trying to give me advice, and I always listen. But if they're not from Kentucky, a lot of times you have to weigh how valid is the advice they're giving you. And there are a lot of good ideas out there, but I still go to the people first, and I ask them what they think and what they feel is right, and that's how you have to be.
So if you do get to the general and you face Mitch McConnell, and you go into a debate with Mitch, he's gonna go out and say he did this and that for Kentucky, and maybe in the past he did, but what has he done for Kentucky in the past probably 10, 15 years? The only thing I've seen him do in the Senate is say no to everything Obama wants. He rubber stamps everything Trump wants, and any kind of good democratic or progressive legislation, he just stands right in the way of anything even getting passed in the Senate now. So if you're on that stage, Steve, what would you do? What would you do or say to Mitch?
Well, if I ever get that chance, I will tear Mitch apart. Unlike a lot of people that have ran against him, I've studied Mitch. I know how he's voted. I've got his audiobook, The Long Game, loaded into my phone right now. I listen to him. I hear what he has to say because that's how you beat somebody. You know what they've done, what they're about, and how they think. And I'll rip him apart because when he says, well, I provided this and this much money into healthcare to help because Obamacare was failing, I can say, well, it's because you gutted Obamacare and then you did that just so people would have something to say about it.
Hello, Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Lost you for a second.
Okay. I was getting a
He was
call.
talking about Obamacare, gotten Obamacare.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. He gutted Obamacare, and then he funneled money from a federal fund into Kentucky just so he could say he did something. So he does that. He tries to make himself look good when really there's little effort or no effort. Same thing with the whole hemp bill.
Right.
He's very much in support of hemp, very much in support of hemp now. But I mean, hell, he's been in office since '85, and he's been against it all this time. Now he's starting to see the winds of change blowing. He's like, oh, I better hop on this. I'm just going to do whatever people like anyway. I mean, he says that in his book even. He's like, you just do what people like. Um, when he was trying to run for student council president, when he was still in school, his strategy was, I'm going to go around to all the popular kids, and I'm going to get all the popular kids to say that they'll vote for me, and then everybody will just listen to the popular kids because everybody's going to just follow whatever's hot right now. That's the strategy since day one.
Well, we call him the Grim Reaper where I'm from. So hopefully we'll get him out of office because everything that comes to him usually dies. So
Oh
he's
yeah.
he's definitely the Grim Reaper. So anyways, I want to move to you built a nonprofit called We Rise. Can you share about that? I think it was a heck of an idea. What I read about it was that you go to different charities in once a month and do that and participate with the charity. So could you explain more about that? I think that's a great idea. Even for a campaign thing, I think that would be a good thing to go to different jobs and just see how people work and feel that out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a non-profit, so to speak. We didn't actually get 501c status.
Okay.
but we weren't really concerned with that. We were more concerned with what we could do for the community.
Sure.
So every month we'd talk out and find a charity or a cause that we wanted to support locally, and we would collect money for that, and we would give it to that cause or go and volunteer, for that cause. The biggest one we did was for the VA. We rose, a few $100s. We gave that to them for their recreational fund so that they could, do things with the people there. And then we went out and volunteered, played games with them, and just spent time, listened to stories. And that was really awesome. There was a couple of them that wanted to give us tours of their room, so we did that, and we just sort of chatted it out because a lot of them don't get to leave that actual facility because they're not in, the greatest of health. Right. So you go there and you talk to them, and you'd be surprised how far that actually goes. Another one we did was for a local block party that people were putting on. It's called All Youth Matters, and it's for the sort of lower income areas of Madisonville to have an event that the kids can go to that's free. There's free games, free food, and I didn't get to collect as much money as I wanted to for that, but instead I went there and I helped set up and I helped put out all these different, chairs, the different tents and whatnot they had to put up, help set up the, food machines. And, they didn't know who I was really at the time. And then after everything was done, then I was like, okay, well, this is who I am. And if you ever need help again, just reach out to me. And they were like, what? You're running for an office? And I was like, yeah, just look me up if you have a chance, Because I didn't want it to be about that, but it's nice to sort of throw in at the end to, surprise them, because people aren't used to actual, that kind of help from anybody running for office.
I agree. So, Steve, I got a couple more fun questions, but after this, but I didn't ask you, and I want to ask you this as the last question. How is the campaign going? Have you been traveling around the state a lot, or going to like Lexington, the big Democratic areas, or Louisville, or any of that?
Right now, I am setting up different things around the state to do. I'm trying to get in touch with the local Democratic parties and go and talk to their members at, one of their monthly meetings. Right. What I'd really like to do is sort of, and this isn't a plug for Beto because I'm not, pro Beto, but I did like what he did, as far as a lot of the money he raised, he put it right into the gas tank. He drove, from cafe to cafe, and he just kept talking to people until everybody in the state just knew who he was and what he was about. And that's the sort of outreach that really helps people. It's just that face-to-face interaction. The campaign, I'll be honest, it's going about not as good as I would really like it to go, not as much where I can hire, the staffing that would be necessary, but it is still significant for the fact that it is fully people ran, and I can still do everything that's necessary to do in it. I'm about to open my first office in Madisonville pretty soon, so that's a fun thing. Right. But yeah, not as well as I would want it to go, but you always hope for better. But still, very surprising, when you wake up and you see the actual numbers that are coming in and the positivity people are actually throwing at you.
So when is the primary, and have you talked, I know it's kind of early, but have they talked about any kind of debates between the Democratic candidates? Has the KDP talked about any of that stuff yet?
Not yet. I don't really know what they'll end up doing. If not, I know several groups and organizations throughout Kentucky that will gladly try to throw together a debate, and I'm going to push for that. The primary itself is May 19th, 2020. Okay. So I'm pushing that out pretty hard every time I, say something. Right. I want my name attached to it so that way they know, hey, that's the day you vote, because a lot of times people don't, get out for the primaries as much as they should.
Right. Well,
but people are waking up, especially the last, 4 years. People are realizing, okay, primaries are important. State elections are important. Local elections are important. All elections are important. They all have a hand in, how our lives get led.
Is that the same date as the presidential primary?
I believe it is, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, okay. So hopefully that'll be big turnout.
Yeah. I mean, everybody that'll have a primary that year in Kentucky, it'll be the same date.
Okay. Because I know the governor's race is this year, but
Yeah,
the Senate and the presidentials for next year. But let's go into some fun questions. So, Steve, what's your favorite color?
favorite color is red, actually.
Okay. All
I
right.
like the color red. I don't know. I use it a lot. Blue is actually a very close second. I know that sounds funny, but that's the reality. I like red and I like blue.
That's all right. And what?
Being patriotic because I have a lot of flags and stuff
Yeah,
around
red, white,
everything.
and blue.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, so what's your favorite food?
Favorite food that changes a lot. I really love Reubens. I'm a big fan of a Reuben sandwich.
Okay.
Um, Not the healthiest thing, so I don't get to eat it as much as I used to. But I love a good Reuben. You know, the sauerkraut, the corned beef. Like, ugh. You know, I got Irish roots, and
Right. So you
corned beef.
like a mean Reuben. Okay.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's
I,
actually there's a place in North Carolina called, I think it was Dunderbacks, and they had this one called a Blue Max. And what they did is it was a you know a 3-layered Reuben with
right.
your corned beef. And then they used wine kraut instead of the sauerkraut, and they had blue cheese on it. And
Oh man.
God, I wish I could I wish I could find one of those.
You like to go over there and fly for lunch over there every day. Go and
Right?
get bring that back. Who's your favorite historical figure?
Oof. Now, that's a rough one. Um, as far as the attitude goes, I would say Teddy Roosevelt, hands down. Love the guy's attitude. FDR more for policy and whatnot, but Teddy Roosevelt was just he's so inspiring when you read the things, you know, because they say, you know, senators have to talk like this or act like this, or presidents have this way to talk. But like one of my favorite stories is, you know, an older senator that was known for like really coming at freshman senators when Teddy first got into office as a senator. He said, you don't know what you're talking about, you know, and he had a cane that he would actually hit people with. I mean, that you know, that was what was happening back in that day. And Teddy said, you know, you come at me, I will scream, I will kick, and I will kick you in the balls. That was his exact phrasing, and that was one of our greatest U.S. presidents. He told someone he was going to kick him in the balls.
Right, right.
Uh,
That's crazy. But
and you know,
go ahead.
there's also there was an assassination attempt against Teddy
Right.
Roosevelt. You know, he got shot in the chest, and he was like, "No, I'm going to go ahead and give my speech." And then he got up on
Yeah.
stage and was like, "You look more than a bullet to take down the bull moose." And I was like, "Wow."
Tough as nails, definitely, was definitely. And last question, who is your favorite 2020 candidate so far?
Presidential,
Yes.
honestly, I'm really hoping to see like Bernie with
Right.
Tulsi as the running mate. That's sort of my hope for right now. Um,
But hold
God,
on, let me stop you there. How about Bernie and then Tulsi as the not the VP but the Secretary of Defense?
that would be nice too. Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause she could definitely kick some ass doing that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When you hear her talk about being in the military and having ideas like,
Yeah. Well, she kicked Ryan's butt on the debate stage in that first debate.
oh
They,
yeah. And
yeah.
honestly, if you know, I hate to jump back to McGrath, but if Amy McGrath was anything like Tulsi, I would have been like, all right, I'm going to give up. I'll support you. I'll work for you. But
Right. But you don't live in that district where she lost, do you? Or no?
oh no, I actually tried to reach out to her in 2018. Funny, you know, because her first campaign video was called "The Letter," and you know, she wrote the
Yeah.
letter, all that. I've been trying to get a hold of her for 3 years, and she won't answer my calls. So there's my letter. You know, I know other people that try to get her for events. She won't answer their calls. If you don't have money, she ain't answering the phone.
Wow, that's terrible. And not even that. Last thing on Amy McGrath, she comes out with a commercial about the letter, and no offense to her, maybe that's not the politically correct thing to say, but who cares about the letter? Let's talk about policy. You're coming out on your website saying consistent things, Medicare for all, Green New Deal, all these progressive things, whereas if you look at her website, I don't know if, I'm sure you have, you look at her
Yeah.
website, there's nothing, no policy there. She's got her gift store over there selling T-shirts.
Yeah, it's like, hey, Amy, we know you're trying to pass off your military record as a platform, but I ain't a platform girl.
Yeah.
Sorry.
she's got to get some policy. It's not, you know, like I said, I commend her service, but you got to have some policy. There's got to be some substance behind the person, not just. I don't care. That's what the Democratic Party, with the establishment, they want to put a woman there. They want to put somebody that's African American, Hispanic, whatever, this and that, or somebody that's young and this. You want to put a person that's got policy. I don't care if they're old, young, black, white, Hispanic, Asian. I want somebody with policy that's going to fight and get things done. And so far throughout this interview, you seem like a guy that knows what he's doing. You work for whatever, $15, $16 an hour. And you can clarify me if I'm wrong. I was watching another interview about you. Said that you used to work at Walmart.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was a third shift stalker at Walmart for 3 years.
Yeah. So you know what it is to work at places like that, at Walmart and stuff like that. Those are, you know, people think that that's, you know, it's people that work at Walmart, they treat them like crap. People that work at Walmart, that's a tough job. You got to put up with a lot of crap. I'm sure you've had to put up with it.
That you can put a label on, you know, any sort of this kind of harassment. I've gotten that when I worked at Walmart. It's insane.
Yeah. So I mean, you've done those jobs, whereas Mitch McConnell and Amy McGrath, they haven't worked at Walmart. They haven't worked at jobs where it's $10, $15 an hour. They don't know what it is. They think $15 an hour like you're a multimillionaire. $15 an hour, as Bernie says, that's just the wage that we want to get to as far as a somewhat living wage. We need to even get above that for somebody to make $50,000 a year, $60,000 to live comfortably in a house and, you know, maybe go on a vacation once or twice a year. So, I mean, you're a person that's fighting for that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I appreciate that. And Stephen, I appreciate the interview. I want to plug you and I want you to plug yourself. Anything, Instagram, your website, anything else you want to say, volunteers, of how we can get the word out to, you know, not even people that I know in Florida, but we have people that as I said earlier, that are Bernie Sanders supporters and progressives in general from all over the country listening to this YouTube channel. So anything that you want to say to them?
Absolutely. Go to coxforus.com. That's COXFORUS.com. You can see my full platform there. You can select a volunteer. You can find my phone number and my email address in case you just want to talk to me. That'll get to me. It won't be to a volunteer. The things on there, my contact information, goes straight to my phone. It'll be me. You can also follow me on Twitter at Stephen Cox USA and at Facebook.com/Cox for KY. That's COXFORKY.
All right. And anything as far as donations, how can they get to you donate to your campaign, rather?
If you go to my website, there is a donation button. It'll connect you to a secure link through ActBlue. All my donations are done through ActBlue, and definitely I could use your support.
Right, because this is a person that, ladies and gentlemen, that is not taking corporate funds. It's just by the people. It's a campaign by the people, which is what we want and what we need in America, not just in Kentucky, but all over this country. We need to support progressive candidates like Stephen and people that want to go into Washington and get things done. This is a person that knows a lot of stuff on healthcare and national security as far as studying homeland security. We need to get more people that are regular people that have worked real jobs, not have been funded by the multimillionaires that haven't really been in real America. These people have been stuck in Washington, D.C., and New York City, and in Los Angeles, and nothing to badmouth those areas. I love those areas, but they're stuck in their elite bubbles, not where Stephen has been, and dealing with regular people that are working at Walmart, people that are cutting their pills in half. So he knows the real deal, and he is the real deal. So I hope everybody donates, visits the website, and watches this podcast, and shares it out to people on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So, Stephen, I appreciate your time. Any last words? All right.
No, have a great day, everybody. Thanks for having me on, and definitely I could use your support.
Right.
Not
definitely vote.
But we,
And we need you to go out and vote if you're in Kentucky on May 19th. And definitely follow it. Look for more about Stephen. Volunteer, donate to him, and follow the campaign. And I'll definitely be following the campaign. And hopefully we can get you on again with some more news.
Absolutely. Be
All
glad
right.
to come back anytime.
Appreciate you, Stephen. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.